Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to COD Central TV. Today I'll be covering major differences between the PS4 and PS5 version of Call of Duty Cold War. Let's get into the video. Another gaming generation is upon us, and with it, a whole slew of cross-generation titles for gamers to compare and contrast. Call of Duty has been an annual staple for well over a decade, and its latest entry, Black Ops Cold War, is currently available on both the 4th and 5th iterations of Sony's PlayStation console. Considering what an absurd powerhouse the game is, there's bound to be some major differences between current and next-gen versions of the game. While developers say that they've been careful to make sure there aren't any significant imbalances between current and next-gen versions, experienced players will know that even the slightest change can greatly affect not only the player experience, but also grant unforeseen advantages in multiplayer settings. Here are some differences players can expect to see between the two versions, and some reasons why current-gen players might want to consider upgrading. Number 5. Higher frame rate caps. It's not exactly a newsflash that Black Ops Cold War looks better on a new console. You can have a second to catch your breath. This isn't terribly surprising, but it's still a selling point for the next-gen version, especially for players who are sticklers for graphical fidelity. And of all the graphical features that are the most important to competitive players, none is more consequential than frame rates. On PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles, Black Ops Cold War runs at a battery-smooth 120 FPS, with the ultimate high frame rate being locked in on multiplayer mode, though the campaign is no slouch either. Meanwhile, the current-gen version remains capped at 60 FPS, which has powerful ramifications for cross-gen multiplayer.
There you go. Thank you. One down, one to go. You gonna finish?
Number 4, improved ray tracing. With better frame rates comes better lighting, and nowhere is that more apparent than in Black Ops Cold War's use of hardware-based ray tracing on its next-gen versions. Rather than the baked-in shadows that have been in the norm for decades, the PS5 version offers dynamic and hyper-realistic lighting that far more closely matches the real deal and complements the game's visual design significantly. However, that improvement does come with one significant caveat. Ray tracing is only available on 60 FPS mode. It cannot be enabled at 120 FPS. In single player, where all opponents are bots and encounters pre-scripted, this may not be an issue. However, in multiplayer, where there's a difference between a few stray frames can be life or death, such discrepancies can have significant consequences.
Here with Sims. Usually bring out the best in each other.
Number 3, better surround sound audio. In addition to graphics, the other part of the game's presentation, audio, is also superior on the next-gen version. According to developers, the newer version features a localized sound both above and below a player, what they've coined threat priority audio system. In the traditional surround sound system used by previous games, specialized channels were limited to front, side, and the back of a player. Now with headphones, players can hear region-specific audio from above or beneath the character. Like the improved frame rates, this feature could have significant ramifications for multiplayer. Simply put, the PS5 players can hear sounds that their PS4 counterparts quite literally cannot. It may put PS4 players at a disadvantage, but for PS5 players, it's all the more reasons to upgrade.
That's good because the source.
Number 2, lightning fast load times. The PS5 version of Black Ops Cold War loads fast, really fast. The load times for the next-gen versions have been described as practically non-existent. Compared to current-gen counterparts, it's so fast that you might actually have to wait for other players to catch up while playing cross-gen platform and multiplayer.
Roger that, Ripcord. You Adler?
Number 1, haptic feedback. Probably the most significant difference, and the one most highlighted by Activision, is the PS5's version use of the advanced haptic feedback found in its new DualSense controller, including the left trigger is slower and harder to reflect the difficulty of shouldering a weapon aimed down sight in real life. The right trigger is snappier, but with unique pressure levels for every in-game weapon. Bigger weapons are harder and smaller weapons are lighter. As lead designer Tony Flame said in an interview at the GameSpot, the DualSense controller is pretty awesome. It's got new haptic feedbacks. When you're pulling the trigger, it's shaking. Every time a gun fires, there's a little motor in there that's firing every time. There is sensitivity on the trigger that represents the trigger pressure on a real weapon. All of that has been tuned into the game for each individual weapon, so it's quite a lot to take in, but it's pretty awesome and it gives guns a feeling like they never had before. This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen, because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video. So long.